So before we get into new content today, I just wanted to take a couple minutes to introduce myself to you all, since we don't get to be in the classroom and do this formally. At least you can know a little bit about me and who's talking to you from the other side of this screen. So, next slide. So I was born in Rochester, New York, so not too far from here, just across the lake, so very similar climate. Toronto was the city that people went to for culture and things like that, went from Rochester. So I was born there. There's Baby Will, always a nerd, wearing a university sweatshirt there. And so then I grew up in Rochester, New York for pretty much my whole childhood. And then I really wanted to go to a big city. I thought I wanted to study international relations, so I went to McGill University for my first year of college. And so had a great experience there overall, really enjoyed my lecture classes, but I ended up transferring for a number of reasons. One of them just being I was from a very small high school of about 44 students in my graduating class, and obviously McGill is huge, and I was a little overwhelmed there. I'm sure many of you can relate to that experience. I also was really wanting more opportunities to do writing and to do critical thinking, and I didn't feel like I was getting a lot of those opportunities in the lecture halls, and so I transferred to a small liberal arts college in the U.S., Smith College, and so there I took a lot of seminars and smaller classes. And so I'm telling you all of this not just to brag about my educational experiences and how awesome they were, but because this really informs the approach that I take to the classroom. I try to take sort of the best of both. I had some really awesome experiences at both very different types of educational institutions, and so I try to bring the best of the lectures, but also some of the smaller group and critical thinking aspects I experienced at a smaller college. And so you'll see that in the group discussions and some of the other aspects of this course, and in particularly in the way in which I'm going to ask you to critically engage with the material. So, after I graduated from college in 2009, I had no idea what I was doing with my life. I'm sure some of you can also relate to that feeling. So I bought a one-way plane ticket and moved to San Francisco. I had never been to California before, but it seemed like a great place to be, being from this climate. And so I moved out there and lived there for about 2 years and worked various jobs, but most of the time at a residential facility for youth with emotional problems. I thought I wanted to be a clinical psychologist at this point, and so I was really wanting to get some hands-on experience. And again, while that was a great learning experience, I learned from that I am not great at coping with that type of stress. There's a lot of acute stress that people face in those kind of situations, working at essentially a locked psych ward, and so I decided instead that I would like to experience a different type of stress, the chronic stress of grad school. So I went to the University of California in Santa Barbara, so that's here in Southern California, just a little bit north of LA. A very beautiful university campus. This is the campus here. You can see the psych building here. So from my advisor's office, you can see the ocean. Again, I say this not to brag. I didn't actually see this very much. I mostly spent my time in the basement lab, engaging in all kinds of experiments and torturing undergraduates with stress tests. We did a lot of stress tests looking at cardiovascular reactions to dunking your arm in ice water, counting backwards from a high number by sevens, all things you can do to stress people out and look at their reactions. We also did a lot of virtual reality experiments, so here I am wearing the head-mounted display. That also, again, sounds way cooler than it was. I mostly spent time fixing that equipment because it would break all the time. And then I also did a lot of fMRI work, and so you can see a picture of my brain here. You can decide if you think I'm qualified to be your professor based on that. I'm just kidding. You won't really be able to tell from just that image. But all this to say that I've long been interested in the connections between the mind and body, and this really brought me to being interested in health psychology. Probably the best thing about grad school is that I met my lovely wife there, Dr. Metz, and I think many of you may have had her for statistics, for research methods, for emotion, close relationships, intergroup. She teaches almost everything here, it seems like these days. And so she was 2 years ahead of me in the program, and so we met when I first got there. Here we are in 2011 as babies. And then after she graduated, she went off to Ohio to teach for 2 years, and I finished up. Here she is coming back to celebrate our graduation. Here's our pup Gordy. He's been with us the whole way. Here he is here. See, he's right here in the lap. and he's been teaching health psychology with me from the very first day. Health psych was the very first class I ever taught in graduate school, and so it's particularly close to my heart. It's probably my favorite class because of that. I've been doing it the longest, and it's just really fascinating to me. So yes, we're huge nerds, so this is our wedding here, doctor and doctor, and how many people's wives would let them spray paint dinosaurs for a wedding decoration? So Dr. Metz is obviously awesome. So there we go. So it's really because of her that we're here in Toronto. She's the one who got a job here first. She got a awesome position here, and so I said, absolutely, I'd like to move with you to Canada. And so I worked from home for a year here doing some consulting work and research, and then got my foot in the door at U of T as an adjunct professor, taught a few classes, including health psych. That was the one that got me in. And then now I'm a full-time professor. This is my second year working full-time here, teaching a full course load. And as much as I would rather be teaching you in person, I'm still really grateful for this position. I really enjoy teaching you. I really enjoy interacting with you all. And so I'm really excited to be here teaching this course to you today and in all the weeks that follow. And so Gordy's been adjusting to the weather here. He's a Southern California guy. It was a little rough on him his first winter, but he's got it now. He knows how to use all his sweaters and blankies, and he's a very well-dressed dog now. So never thought I'd be a person putting my dog in sweaters, but here we are.